Okay, check, check, 1, 2, 3. Check, check, 1, 2, 3. We're going to be live here shortly. I'm Glenn at COAF Field Team on YouTube, and this round got it for you. Well, it's Friday, and we've got the fishing bug in yours truly, but fortunately I've been sidetracked with the day job. But I did get a few videos out there this past few days. One was a little shorts on. It was specifically looking at bait finesse system style fishing. And then, let me see if I can make sure we can hear anything. All right, test, test, test. Yeah, okay, we're good. We got some good sound. All right, and just let me know if there's some technical difficulties. I'm still kind of learning this hardware. And, well, what we want to talk about this round is the last video I posted, which is, or the one right before it was a long form video about 30 plus minutes long, and it was talking about some of the fishing flies that I had tied. So I did a bunch of quick tie videos over the years, as well as some long form videos, and went and compiled them into one video and just kind of give you a hint as to what things are out there, and specifically talking about some of the things with that video. This is the peak fly tying vise that I used over the years. Originally started out with a different fly tying vise, and then switched over to this one, and I've been happy with it so far. So it's a good one. It's a peak fly tying vise. Technically it's a rotary fly vise. I do have basically making sure you just have to center everything when you put your hook on there, and I've used it for some larger hooks as well as some smaller size ones. And just to show you some of the things that I'm talking about, here is that video, some snippets of the video that I posted the other day. Let's see, mainly showing of the different ones that I had used. And so let me talk about them here shortly. The one that's on there right now is a quick tie video that I use for some rainbow trout, and that one is, I believe it's the, let's see if I can take a closer look at it. I gotta get closer to it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm using some UV glue here, and that's the Guadalupana, and this is the near deer. This is one that I like using for a lot of my trout fishing, and that one is a fairly quick tie. You just gotta kind of roll with it and get the feel for how the pattern goes. It's pretty close to a woolly bugger. Let me go ahead and click on the sound so you at least have some better sound than yours truly just talking. And I'll just kind of monitor things, and if anyone has any questions, do bring them up. So let's go ahead and start out with sound. Another good one I like using. Yeah, and this is one that I've used for some trout, especially some rainbow trout over there on the Lower Mountain Fork in Oklahoma, as well as the Lower Illinois and the Blue River. And I find that this one did well. I've used it as a standalone single fly, as well as using it tandem rig style, and I've been really happy with it over the years. And it's kind of been a go-to fly when they get kind of picky. And well, it's a fairly quick tie. So let me go and shift back over, and let's see. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show. Is just heads up. I do have some of these fly tying videos. And the vise I was using, again, was this Peak vise, and I've been really happy with it. And bottom line, if you are interested in doing some fly tying to kind of augment your fly fishing, I do suggest taking up the hobby. It is addictive, so you'll find yourself tie in or buy in some more stuff just so you can get your patterns out there and whatnot. But one thing I do suggest, and I saw it in recent videos or at least recent Q&As from other folks, is people ask, I only have a limited budget and I can't buy all the fly tying material up front. What do you suggest? And my suggestion is when you take up fly fishing, you're going to end up kind of leaning toward a particular fly, your go-to fishing fly. Mine was the brim getter, or a foam spider basically. And so I learned that pattern first, and I did really well tying that, and then I shifted over to some streamer patterns like the woolly bugger, and those are ones that I was using pretty much for most of my fishing. And so what I suggest is learn to tie your favorite fly that you fish with, and get that material specifically and get really good at it. And what ends up happening is you'll learn the basics of tying that fly, and then that'll translate to other flies that you end up bringing into your fly box and giving it a try. So that was my suggestion when it comes to kind of, if you're on a limited budget and you want to take up fly tying to augment your fly fishing, well, you might as well buy the material for a specific fly, get really good at tying that fly, and then you know, take up other flies as you start moving along and getting more experience, be it fishing as well as in the fly tying realm. So don't have to drop a lot of money to get started in fly fishing or fly tying. You will spend some, but again, focus on one pattern, get the material for that pattern, learn it well, and move on from there. I do know that, let's see, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, they offer these single fly kits where it's one pattern and it's like 5 to 10 different, or enough material for 5 to 10 of those flies in that one pattern for like, I think like the $20 range. So if you're limited budget, want to take it up, give that one a try. And like I'm showing here, there are various things that you can do, maybe even kind of experiment and try different flies. Sometimes what will happen is I'll be out in the field, I'll notice that one particular fly, or at least style, is working better than others, and I'll go ahead and learn that pattern, or tie my own pattern and whatnot. And so here I'm using a dubbing tool, and I'm creating a fishing fly. I believe this is one that I used a lot when I was fishing for, I think it was some bass. Yeah, I think it was some bass in this case, because believe it or not, the way it looks on the video is it looks like kind of scraggly looking and whatnot. But as soon as I got it wet, it started to get that minnow pattern look. So I think it'll be like a little snapshot of it. Yeah, there's where I've wet it. Now there's where I've caught a bass with it. And there it is right there. So very good pattern. Looks just like little minnow. All right, so that was a good one. Here I think I'm talking about some more fishing flies and whatnot. Here, let me see if I can get some audio on for that one. We came up with this one. Here's what it looks like wet. Ooh, we'll get some better pictures of it. All right, and basically it's a saddle hackle, white saddle hackle, that's forming around the front end of the hook. We've got some lead wire to give it weight to hold it down, and the rest of it is these plumes tied at the hook bend. And what that does is it'll sit definitely in this position, and it's ready to get struck by a bass on the bed. Yeah, and that was a pretty good fly that I like using for bass spawning. Get that fly on their bed and it kind of ride the tail feathers up, and sure enough, you get yourself a fish or two. Yeah, it's a fairly quick tie. I think I've done some other variations of it where I've done a bent back pattern with it. And I guess that's one of the other benefits about picking up the fly tying game is just kind of make your own fishing flies and kind of experiment and see if you can get one to take. And this one was experimenting, just trying to make sure that the hook was riding hook up or hook bend up and in a in a position that when the bass came up on it, I could see it, and well, here's a good example of it, just kind of floating, hook, bend up. Nice stuff. Of course, when I see the color disappear from that little white, I set the hook at that point because typically there may be a bass kind of lurking right in there. There's some Pat's near deer. So again, one of the other things that you want to try doing is when you take up fly tying, you could kind of mix up patterns. In this case, I decided to take the rubber legs from a Pat's near deer or Pat's rubber leg and putting it together. This one, it's the plain mayfly emerger, and this one came up when I was fishing a particular, I was fishing a particular area where it was Blue River, and there were some fish the trout were eating these emerging, I don't know what, but they looked like that, and I came up with this pattern and added some foam rubber, closed foam cell material on it just to give it a little more visibility, as well as allow it to hang in there and stay higher in the while it's sitting on the surface. That seemed to work out really well. Let's see if I can tone down the sound. Yeah, very simple pattern: black thread, some grizzly hackle, and that closed cell white foam. Rides with the hook down in the water surface. Right there's a good example of one. And that was taking a few trout that particular day, or at least that particular trip. Yeah, fun one. Alright, let's see what this one is. Let's see, I've got some dumbbell eyes, red. I think this is going to be a damselfly. It's the red damselfly, I think. So I'll start with some dumbbell eyes. It's like some white bucktail. Okay, this may be something different. Let me think. White bucktail. I'll probably put some let's see, chartreuse bucktail. It's like a simple Clouser minnow, it looks like. And I think this is one that I'll typically use for white bass as well as stripers, specifically on the Denison Dam River. Let's see. I got some folks on here. Kim, Sang-Hoon Kim. Hi there. Thank you for your videos. Moved to Dallas 4 years ago in North Carolina. Found your videos this year. Trigger the Blue River. Nice. I'm going 2 weekends in a row, and you're getting ready to go again this tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow morning. Oh, wow. I heard that the Blue River's been doing really well. And the water's cleared up, so maybe you might be able to get a fish or two, and maybe let us know how you did. I've been itching to go again. Unfortunately, I've not been able to. Got sidetracked with some day job stuff, but that's awesome. And do appreciate you joining the live stream here and reaching out to us. So very nice. And hopefully, maybe one of these flies may help you out too. Maybe out there in the blue or on the blue. So let's see, this is a Griffith's gnat, but I think I took the peacock herald out, and I just wanted it to no hurl Griffith's gnat. So skip the peacock herald and just use the grizzly hackle and tie it on there, and I'm still getting hits with it, fishing it dry as well as wet. Let's see, I think this is going to be a Tenkara fly, the Marilyn Monroe. And the name for this one came from a fly tying forum that I'm on, and guess what? Oh wait, no, this is it's got purple in it. I think this is the Piedmont. Yeah. Okay. So what this one's typically used for is when I'm fishing for some bass on their beds again. I use this kind of purple colored one. I'll switch out the colors with some white marabou as well as pink marabou, just depends on how they're doing. Let's see, last weekend I caught a lot. Nice. And have fly gear but never landed a fish yet. Oh, okay.
Warrior Midge. This is the
trailing fly that we used on our tandem rig last weekend.
Give you some video
at the Blue River.
All right, it sounds like I watched your spot recommendations and it worked really well.
Outstanding. Yeah, I kind of mixed it up this year and decided to try some other locations, and there was the Flat Out Fishing Guide who moved to New Mexico. Met up several times over there on the Blue River over the years, and really gave some great information out there. Let's see, what is this one? This is another fly, and I'm trying to remember what it is. I think this may be the Rainbow Warrior also. And I'm using that UV glue, the 5-minute fix glue that you can pick up at CVS and Walgreens. Oh, the Quick Tie Sabiki fly dye. You can use a Bevita wrapper. You can use Frito wrappers, Dorito wrappers. It's that really the silver mylar on the inside that you're looking for. And these have been a really go-to one that I've used for both fishing from shore, casting out on a point during the summer on the local lake, as well as trolling. That's done really well for me. And what's nice about it is they're really quick to tie. They're very cheap. Basically, it's the hook that you're buying along with some monofilament, which you probably already have. And then I set it up Sabiki style. So I have 3 to 4 on a stringer. In this case, I'm doing some casting in the surf or without the surf, and I'm catching these nice white bass. Quick Tie Simple Midge. Okay, I think this is one. Let's see. I think this one is just some grizzly hackle, I believe, that I'm just wrapping around it, and I'm using it as I think I'm using it for fishing it dry as well as wet. And I think this is one of the ones that I used up at Frisco way back when they used to stock trout at the Frisco Commons, and there was this 5 o'clock afternoon or early evening bite where the trout only wanted a small dry fly. Just that's all they wanted, and I found that this worked out really well. Let's see. I'm introducing the Blue River to the co-walker. Hopefully we can hit trout in the morning and stop by Denison Dam. Oh wow, a double whammy, double whammy, hitting up some trout as well as striped bass. That's an excellent idea. Good luck there. I've been itching to fish Denison Dam with that center pin rig setup that I got. I specifically got it for that type of fishing. Okay, here's the mop fly. And believe it or not, this is one that I was surprised works for trout. I've also used it on bass, and it's a very simple tie. It's really just get the mop, one of those dust mops, get one of those nodules on there, and then you're wrapping some dubbing around the head portion, and then you're ready to go. And the main thing you got to be careful of is how you tie the body onto the hook. If you tie it too far back or too thick, you may get a harder time setting the hook when a trout or a bass bites. Oh, and then there's maybe at the catch and release section up at the blue. Here's the Tenkara fly. I think this is the Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, it is. Marilyn Monroe. That's one it got named while I was on a Fly Time forum. One of the other members suggested, hey, this looks like Marilyn Monroe when she was wearing that one white dress by the subway where it was kicking up her skirt. And sure enough, it does look like a skirt being kicked up on this. It's a reverse hackle tied Tenkara style, and this one works really well Tenkara fishing as well as just a straight fly fishing. Let's see. Do you know if treble hook is allowed? I know it has to be barbless, but it's hard to break all the barbs in the spinners. I'm in the process of catching up the old videos because of decent trout fishing river in the summer months in Oklahoma. Okay. The treble hook piece, I'm not sure if that is allowed or not. I do know that they need to be barbless. when you're up in the catch and release section, but for the rest of the river, it doesn't have to be barbed, or it doesn't have to be barbless. Let's see, catching, but there's a decent trout fishing river in the summer. It's 2 year-round fisheries in Oklahoma. One is the Lower Mountain Fork. Typically you go to Beavers Bend State Park and you can fish that stretch of the river, and it's stocked with trout year-round. The other one is the Lower Illinois River over there by Gore, Oklahoma. It's the Tail Race to Lake 10 Killer. That's also another year-round trout fishery. Of the two, debate is out there as to which one to go to. If I'm trying to just kind of do a long camping season or weekend, I go to Beavers Bend, but you gotta watch the crowds. If I was just going to go and just straight fishing, I'd do the Lower Illinois one. You've got several sections where you can easily access, and if they are generating water, or generating power, you can move further down river and fish some of these areas and still get some of the trout on there. And also, I tend to. I've seen one of the old videos that someone else had posted, and there are a lot of fish there. You might catch a trout, you might catch a striped bass. I think there was one trip we went where trout, a striped bass, as well as white bass, Gasper Goo, pretty much everything out there under the sun. So yeah, there are some decent places. Those specifically are the two, Lower Illinois River and Lower Mountain Fork. Lower Illinois River is located by Gore, Oklahoma. Lower Mountain Fork is located Beavers Bend State Park, and in that area, Broken Bow, basically, Oklahoma. Oh yeah, definitely check it out. If you go to some of the Facebook forums or groups, there's going to be some great information that you'll get from, be it fly fishing guides as well as other fishermen that fish the area, and they give you the latest, greatest, what's happening out there. I use Facebook a lot, and then there's a fly fishing guide over there in Oklahoma that I've been friends with over the years. His name's Donovan Clary, and he's got some great info on all three of those locations, be it the Blue, the Lower Illinois, or the Lower Mountain Fork. All right, and that's the John Deere fly. That's the precursor to the Near Deer. What is key about that one is it surprisingly catches fish, even though it's a simple tie like that. This is the red damselfly. All right, this one I've used for bass in ponds, as well as white bass, fishing for them out in the lake, just kind of trolling with them, as well as just kind of playing around and having a fun time, especially in the summer, working the different creeks as well as ponds. Let's see, can you use barbed hooks except catch? At the Blue River, that's correct. You can use barbed hooks everywhere else other than that catch and release section. Also, FYI, come March, the month of March, in the catch and release section will get opened up to where it will be put and take, because getting ready for the summer, they're not going to make it through the summer months. So they open up the last month of the stocking season, which runs from November to March. The catch and release section will become a put and take fishery. So some of those big bruisers that are out there, you might have a good opportunity to catch and keep one. Let's see, made a video last year or this year when they had regulation going down from, oh yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it went from 6 to 3, and yes, I did mention about the barbless. They do have to be barbless, but again, the catch and release section, specifically for the Blue River. All right, this next fly, I missed the beginning of it. Unfortunately, my video player is one of these ones that I put together using a Raspberry Pi board, and well, it just loops, so I can't even stop it. I just let it run. All right, great. Thank you for the info. Yeah, appreciate you joining Sang Hoon Kim. Yeah. Oh, okay. I remember this. This is a Mickey fin variant. So the other thing about being able to tie different flies and whatnot, and having your own material or means to make these fishing flies, is you can take a known pattern and go ahead and kind of make a variant of it. So I took the Mickey fin pattern and I just switched up the coloring. In this case, I went with white and olive deer hair and used that same style pattern. I've used that one for some bass and whatnot. See, this is the gold rib hares here. Oh. Yeah, this one is one of the first fishing flies or nymphs that I tied, and the main reason why I tied it is I was losing a bunch of them when I bought them and we'd go fishing, and next thing I know I've lost maybe 5 to 6 at back then, maybe $3 to $4 a pop, so I was losing like 20, 25 bucks some trips fishing this, because this was a go-to fly that I was using. So I started to go, hey, why don't I just go ahead and learn to tie one? So I ended up learning it, and I still remember how to do it from memory, and I made some variants of it over the years, but I don't buy them anymore. I just make them myself. I still may lose 3 to 5 in a trip too. All right, simple micro fishing one. Oh, this one is the key to this one is it's for micro fishing, and you're using these really small hooks. I end up getting these hooks from Tinkara Bum, and you can catch really small fish, almost like little baby small fry in some cases. But here I just needed something to, well, I was trying to catch a small fish. Put it on a size 22 hook, and all it is just using some, I think it was some UV glue and some Antron, and that's all I needed to take it to the nearby creek and catch a few. Let's see. Okay, appreciate your content. I better get to bed early, drive with the blue. Oh yeah, good luck tomorrow. Let us know how the trip went, be it at the Blue as well as Denison Dam. Thanks for joining, and good night. Okay, this one is another Tinkara fly, and I think I was using this one with one of my older Tinkara rods that I picked up years back. It's really heavy, and has been a pretty good rod to use out there. And what I was looking to do was I wanted a fly that I could just put on there and just kind of move to different ponds and whatnot and see what bit, and sure enough, this one worked out really well. All right, and that's a sunfish. Yep, it's a sunfish. Nice size one over there at the lower pond at our local park. This is Bethany Lakes, which has four ponds. It's one of the places I like going, just kind of spend an afternoon doing some fishing. Maybe catching sunfish, maybe catching bass. In this case, I'm using a Tinkara rod. Alright, so let me go ahead and shift back. Okay, I think that's all for now this round. Really appreciate y'all joining us today, and for those that join later, definitely put some comments and whatnot. Let us know if you have any questions for Sang-Hoon Kim. Good luck over there on the Blue River as well as the Denison Dam. It's been really good to hear that other folks are having some use with some of these videos that I've been posting, and well, I'm hoping that like our motto is, average Joes learn to fish by our trials and errors. All right, next time we'll catch y'all later, and good luck and good fishing.